Good evening and welcome to everyone who is here in person and also our viewers online. So welcome to Tuesday evening's talk. And today, it being the World Mental Health Day, it's a very appropriate topic we are chosen to for our speaker to share her thoughts on, and that's love, strength and hope. And we have with us Sister Mani, who's been practicing meditation for over 45 years. And she originally comes from Africa, and she came in touch with the Brahma Kumaris in Midlands. And now she's stationed here at a main center in Global Cooperation House, serving in various fields like looking after the sick and elderly, and also she covers a lot of area in the UK, where she especially goes to assist them in various needs that they may have at our centers, and also travels worldwide, and especially to Canada, Guyana. She's making like annual trips there every year. So without further ado, I invite Sister Mani to come and share her thoughts on this theme. Enjoy.
Good evening. Om Shanti. According to the time, I think the topic is very appropriate. One of the things we all been hearing for a long period of time, and that is that changes are taking place in the world. I remember even when I was very, very little, I would say age of 5, 6, and used to hear what's happening to the world. World is changing. And if you really see now, we used to hear that year 1996, 1999, lots of prediction. We used to hear that lots of changes are going to take place. And if you really see now, it's not long, but it's like every day we hear lots of things are happening in terms of things are getting worse and worse and worse, as today's topic is about climate. But if we really see every field in the world, if we really see 2, 3 fields, science, we see politics, we see elements which are very much connected with us, and of course, spirituality and religion as well. But if we sit and think that what's working now? And sometimes the answer is political power working? Is scientific power working? Is religious power working? Or is science power working? Nothing wrong with that, because we need that all the time. But it has reached to its very extreme stage, and we start to feel, what's the hope for the world? One of the things about Brahma Kumaris, our founding father, we call him Brahma Baba, and imagine his everyday prayer was, there should be benefit to elements, animals, human, everybody, everything. one of prayer is a very famous prayer, and that he used to say that and used to see that the day by day by day by day, the time is changing. And at one point he was kind of saying, what's happening to the world? And we're talking about 70, 80, maybe 90 years back. World was much different than what we have now. And one thing was very, very clear, that everything is going to reach to its extreme stage, and we have heard prediction in many ways. And of course now the science is good, evident that everything is changing. Nothing is in our hand that we can save this planet. And sometimes when we have got so much faith in science, because some of the things which is very much experimented and putting in front of us, but what is actually spirituality? The clarity which the founding father Brahma Baba had was very, very clear. Of course, at that time he was questioning everything. What's going to happen to the world? What's going to happen to the world? And spending lots of time in silence, because we all love our world. It's our world, human world. We all are human beings. And so one thing became very, very clear. There will be big changes in coming world. And what will be that changes? And that changes will be, it will be good news, because anything, when it comes to its very extreme stage, then something happens. So as I've just mentioned, what's happening in the world, everything is reaching to its extreme stage, and sometimes we feel what's going to happen. We can't see anything which is clarity in our mind. And when we start practicing spirituality, we start to feel something different. And what is the different, which we already have actually, because we haven't seen that for a long period of time, what we have within ourselves. So spirituality gives us very, very clear picture that what is the future holds. And one of the feelings in spiritual practices is like opening of the third eye. When our eyes, these eyes are very clear, then we see things very, very clear in front of us. Just imagine if there is not vision, or I can't see properly what's happening around us. It's difficulty. Same with the spirituality. What happens that practicing spirituality, different kind of eye opens, and that in spirituality is described the third eye. These are the eyes of the body, which is very, very important. It plays very important role in our life. But then there is another eye, which is the eye of the soul, which we call the intellect. So when we start to practice spirituality, then we start to see something different. We start to feel something different. And today we are talking about love, unconditional love, strength, and hope. And so what happens? I was talking to my friend this morning, and I want to ask a question to you as well. I know many are listening. When we describe love, what actually we mean? And here we're talking about unconditional love. So what is actually love? What kind of unconditional love we want to feel? Are we not feeling loved in the life when it comes to family, parents, friends? Are we not experiencing that love from them? are we experiencing? And so we were kind of chatting, what is actually the real love, the pure love, the spiritual love? And of course, it is unconditional love. And when we talk about love, the real love or pure love, that is actually where there is no pride, no false pride, no anger, no jealousy, no hatred. So, and actually no selfishness actually. That is actually called the unconditional love. Why we are talking about unconditional love? We only talk about something what we have experienced. Would we talk about something what we haven't experienced? And as I was mentioning earlier, that we always talk about time and we go sometimes past and we used to say things were different. There was lots of family feelings, friendly feelings. And okay, we all have friends, we all have family. And we feel what is necessity for the life, it's not providing us. And that's what's happening now in every field. And one of the things about spirituality, practicing spirituality or spiritual wisdom or studying the spirituality, we know we know inside ourselves that there is something, as I've just said, there is a third eye of the soul, but also there is something more than that, that's third eye can experience. And what's that? This world is known. Chalti dunya is always moving. At some point it wasn't moving this fast. And now if we really see, the way it moves is very fast. Everything is moving very fast. And just imagine, because we are very much conditions to this world, that the way the world is running, and it's running very fast, and I have to kind of be with the world. Of course we have to be, but everything has got its capacity, and we are also talking about the mental health day to day. Mind has got its own capacity. Somebody researched that if we are creating thoughts in the mind, and mind is the faculty which create the thoughts. And so if we are creating round about appropriate thoughts, say about maybe 15 to 20, that's called appropriate thoughts in a minute. And then when it starts to go higher, and when we start to think too much, and it starts to really put the weight on the mind. And as I say, mind has got its own capacity. And we can see now the way the things are. We think too much. And when there is something not right in the life, there is lots of worry and anxiety. So what kind of thoughts we are creating? So it's kind of putting too much weight on the mind. And then what happens? When it starts to go overthinking, and when there is worries, when there is anxiety, when there is problems in the life, when there are situations in the life which we are facing, so our mind is not capable to handle that. And that's why one of the things we see in the world, lots of mental problem is happening. And we also have one group here in our global house mental health group, well-being group. And so we are also facing that what's happening in the world, but what's happening in the world according to the spirituality or according to the law of universe, that anything you start to do which you are not capable, something is going to happen. And so that's what we are doing to our mind. But what happens? Spirituality means I start to see things in a different way. And why is that? Because my third eye of the soul, eye of the spiritual being, is open. I start to watch my mind very closely, which is very, very important. Do we really watch our mind very closely, that what mind is doing? Sometimes we have these thoughts in our mind that it's impossible that we can control our mind or we can change our mind. And this is why one of the signal is good, that it's giving us the signals that we have to do something about ourselves. We have to do something about our mind. We have to do something about our life. We have to do something about inner self. And when this third eye is open, then, of course, the very first thing is we need lots of strength in our life to handle what we are going through, where the world is going in every field, as I have mentioned in the beginning. So, understanding the mind and understanding the third eye of the soul, which is, we call intellect here. And so what happens with that? We start to see things in a different way. We also start to experience something different. And actually, what's that? As I was saying, this world has reached to its extreme stage in every field. And when we are practicing spirituality, and this world is known as a world of sound, and there is too much sound, too much sound. This morning we had such a powerful lesson that if you really want to achieve inner strength or inner power, what is the best time? It seems like you are studying spirituality. So it was saying that when everybody's sleeping, at least they are in rest. And for meditators, spiritual practitioners, best time when everybody's sleeping. That's the time we can have such a nice meditation, very powerful feelings. We can go beyond. And as this world is known as world of sound, world of noise, and too much noise now. Inner voice, the mind also makes lots of noise, and external noise as well. So in order to change our mind, we need to treat our mind. And so what happens? That we go beyond sound, and that's called stable world. Very stable world. This is chalti dunya, chalti rehti hai. But that's achal dunya, which is stable world. So when we practice that, especially in early morning hours, because morning hours are the foundation of what's going to happen in the day ahead of me. And so when I have taken, because I am living in the world, I have job, I have family, I have got everything, and I have to deal it in the right way, wherever I'm connected with. And so when I have taken enough power, enough strength in that hours of time, I experience world beyond. Because this world, as I say, it has reached up to the stage there is all kind of sounds. And so when I go beyond sound, it's absolutely stable world. Our students here, that's what they experience early morning hours. Absolutely sweetness of the silence, very powerful silence, absolutely peace. It's like you want to experience that, because that's where the mind is getting real rest. Otherwise, even when we are sleeping, in our subconscious, mind is still working, still working, still working. But this particular stage is the stage that actually really calms us down. And if we do that on a regular basis, what is going to happen to us? We will start to feel actually different. Because at the moment, we are interacting with very much physical. But when we interact within ourselves, which is on basis of spirituality, we start to see things in a different way. We start to interact in a different way. We see something different. And we have got so much strength, so much powers, that what's going to happen throughout the day, I can handle it very easily, very much in appropriate way. Because two things we are connected in the life, all of us. One is action. We can't remain without action, because this world is known as a field of action, and we have to act. And we have to act in the right way. So it gives me the strength that how I have to act throughout the day in whichever field I'm connected with. And another thing, imagine we all of us, no matter who they are in the world or in which corner of the world they are, can we stay without people? Can we stay without people? Can we stay without relationship? It's very much part of the life. We can't. And again, we talk about, even just a little while ago, we was talking about past. That things were so different, the way we used to do little things. It was so different. We used to enjoy cooking, cleaning, whatever. And now, what's happening? So again, what happens that when we come into relationship, and it has become lots of problems, handling relationships. Any relationship, it has become problems. And that's why one of the things we find mental health a lot in the present time. So very, very essential. When we go beyond, what happens again? Another thing happens, that as we have here all physical relationships, it could be at work, family, whatever, we can't stay without relationship, we can't stay without action. It's very much part of the life. But when I start to experience something different beyond sound, because what it gives, what feelings it gives when I go beyond sound, it's such a feelings, I belong here. One of the big things today is a belonging problem. Do you find that? And that place is like coming back to the self, spiritual self. Coming back to the place is like sense of belonging. Not only that, second thing happens, that there is the eternal source I'm connected with. which is all power, almighty, all love. And when I connect with that one, it gives me different kind of love. Absolutely different kind of love, I feel. Yeah, very first thing is unconditional love. Very powerful love. So when mind starts to experience that love from that source, when intellect is very much connected, it's like nurturing the mind and the intellect, which actually is needed in the present time. Nurturing of the mind and nurturing of the intellect. Because what has happened for a long period of time, we haven't looked very closely to our mind, because our eye, the inner eye, was closed. And now we can see things in a different way. But very first thing what we see is our own mind, what's happening to our mind. We can see even otherwise without spiritual knowledge that what's happening in the mind, and we know it's not right. But what happens when I practice spirituality? Then I do something about my mind, and that is that I myself I need the strength. Strength to do what? So very first thing, I need the strength. What's not right in the mind. Sometimes, as I was saying earlier, too much thinking, too much worries, too much anxiety. And that's where actually, when I have inner strength, I can stop that. I can divert mind in a different way. Sometimes we handle the situations, maybe it's with children, maybe it's with friends, maybe it's with relationships, whether it's work. If we are handling with lots of concern, lots of love, lots of understanding, and this kind of courses are going on, that you can't handle situation with force, with hardship. You have to handle in wisdom, with understanding. And when we do that with our mind, then our mind start to change. We see our mind, that what is it doing, and then we start to explain, we start to love our mind so much, because that's the closest to us. Any human being who are maybe husband and wife, children, mother, they are not that close to us. But our mind is very, very close to us. So when we start to nurture our mind, and when we become very friendly to our mind, but I need that strength. I need to experience that love. So when I go beyond the sound, the world beyond the sound, when I connect myself with the source, there is so much clarity in my intellect, and there is so much difference in my thinking, because everything starts from the mind. So what happens here? Because we have lots of stuff which is not kind of really good for us, and we know it could be in the terms of habit, it could be terms of nature, it could be terms of very strong personality traits. And that has built up for a long period of time. And so actually changes has to take place first in our mind. And when the intellect is really connected, it sees very, very clear what mind is doing. And so what's going to happen now, when I receive that spiritual strength, spiritual power from up above, who I am eternally connected with? Here we use the supreme power, the supreme soul. Because I am the soul, the spiritual being, I am eternal, and my connection with that one is also eternal. So when that connection takes place, we receive unconditional love, we receive so much strength. And then, when we come into interaction or action, it's absolutely different. And one of the things, practicing spirituality, there is a saying that in utter darkness, what is behind utter darkness? What is behind? It's a new morning. And so whatever we are seeing now, we think, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. But practicing spirituality, we start to see that beautiful morning. We start to feel that beautiful morning. It's very natural. We see the cycle of the day. We start the day, then we start to move along the day, then we see the afternoon is going to come, then evening is going to come, and then the night is going to come. And what's in our mind after that? What is that? And also we have heard many predictions that this is what's going to happen. But when we practice the spirituality, and very much one of the lesson we give here, that this is the darkest period of the cycle, as you see cycle here. But it's not going to remain. As I was saying earlier, when anything starts, what is the state in the morning, and then what happens at the night? And sometimes when we watch movies or when we watch dramas, in the beginning, few starts acting, and then later on others are going to join. And then at the end, almost all the actors are on the stage. So what's happening in this big world drama? It started with the new morning. And then, because everybody has got their role to play, we can't say why this is happening, why that's happening. It's a drama, and we all know when end comes of the drama, sometimes the scenes are extreme. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when we are really very much involved in the movies? But then we know the end is good. So what's happening in this world drama? Just imagine, in 1850 there were 1 billion people on the earth. In 1950 it became 2 billion. And now we are over 8 billion. So obviously all the actors of this drama, they are here, but they have their role to play. And we have to accept that. The good news that everybody is playing that role. One of the things what happens with spiritual practicing, which is very, very important, and that is that when I start to see myself as an actor, then I start to take full responsibility of myself. I will not going to even think about others, why this one is doing like this, why that one is doing like that. Because this is where our energy is really, really, really wasted. She should do like this, he should do like that, this is not right, that's not right. What's happening inside? Lots of chatting going inside. Mind is talking too much. So when we start to practice the spirituality, and especially beyond stage, one thing happens to us, that I am responsible for myself. How do I want to think? It's up to me. How do I want to see? how do I want to use these physical sense organs and subtle sense organs? I'm responsible for that. And so very good thing happens that I start to become very much responsible for myself. And I start to take responsibility that I want to think in the right way. I want to think in a positive way. I want to see in a positive way. And so I start to act, or whatever I do, it will be based on spirituality. So my awareness, my attitude, my vision, absolutely different. And this is where I really have to take care of myself, because whatever I do, I become responsible for it. So very first thing is, in spiritual practices, I have to become responsible for myself. And then what's going to happen? Because when I do that, I receive lots of spiritual power. Lots of spiritual power, lots of spiritual strength. Not only that, but what's going to happen after utter darkness? I start to see that as well. That yes, there is a big changes happening in this world. And it's natural law, it's universal law, that anything comes to extreme, it ends. But then after ends, what's next? It's a beautiful new morning. So practicing spirituality, there is a big, not just I hope, because we say this hope word is very common. But of course it's a nice word. But it's not just hoping, but it's sure, it's certain. And I start to feel what's next. When we are practicing something, anything we are practicing for a long period of time, we start to see the results of that, or we become that, and it becomes easy for us. So practicing the spirituality, we start to see very, very clearly what's happening now. It's very clear. It's the darkest period of the cycle, and in our term here, we use Iron Age, Dark Age, Stone Age. Very dark period. It's there. We know, according to the nature of the law, that the cycle goes through all sorts of stages. Even in the 1 year, we go through all sorts of seasons. And we were just talking about, we are in October now, and we still feel it's summer. So things have changed. It should be winter. And when anything is not right, then we know that something is going to go wrong. Although in one sense we say it's summer, but it's not right for the cycle, for the nature of the law, that it should be. Season what it should be. So according to the cycle is the Iron Age. And I know one prediction is very, very clear, and that when the end of the cycle comes, iron speaks. And so what is iron? What is iron? Whatever devices we have got in our pocket, there is some part is iron in it, steel in it, metal in it. And that's very clear prediction that iron talks. And sometimes we say, how iron is going to talk? So whatever we have heard in the past, and founder father of Brahma Kumaris was very, very clear. He used to spend lots of time in silence, and became very, very clear and saying a very good news for the humanity. And that is that liberation from sorrow, liberation from negativity, liberation from what we are going through is coming to an end. It's reaching to its extreme stage, but it's coming to an end. So good news is that we're going to relieve from this negativity, and we're going to come back to our real state of spirituality. And then when we practice spirituality in our daily life, which we call spiritual studies. And spiritual studies, when you study something, what happens? You become something. So here, when we are practicing spirituality, not just hope actually, is certain, we start to feel what will be that new morning like. Very beautiful new morning. You start to feel very, very clearly that very soon everything is going to change. And it's going to become beautiful, because what has happened now, although we can blame this one, that one, but actually in collectiveness, I'm also the part of this world. If I'm not thinking right, I'm not using my subtle sense organs and physical sense organs, mind, intellect and personality traits and physical sense organs in the right way, something is going to happen. Where is the illnesses are coming from? It's not coming from out there. Of course, it's part from there as well, but it's part from inside as well. If I'm not going to use my mind in the right way, my mind is not going to cooperate with me. If I'm not going to use my intellect in the right way, my conscience are not going to, give me the right results. If I'm not going to perform actions in the right way, it's going to come back to me. So every sense organs, whether it's a physical sense organs or whether it's subtle sense organs, what we have done to our world, we have make it reach to this stage. So when I take that responsibility, that yes, I'm also part of what's happening in that world. But when my third eye is open, then I start to take responsibility and I start to act in the right way. And I start to feel what's tomorrow's world. So it's not just giving hope to the world, but it is assuring the world there is good news, that it's time to go home now. Because almost all the actors are here. We have to have very close connection with the source, the one who is director. And when there is that connection, we start to receive righteous, we say, direction, because mind needs directions. And when mind gets directions, when it goes to the right path, then we start to see that what's coming tomorrow. Beautiful world. So for all, it's a very assure, not just a hope, that that beautiful world is coming, and we start to feel that. It's no good just saying that it's coming, but you also have to feel. So when you practice something, and why you feel that? Because something what we have within ourselves. But because the inner eye was closed, we were not able to experience it. But when that inner eye is open, we start to experience inner beauty of the self, divinity of the self, truth of the self. And we become that. So what will be the world of tomorrow? We start to feel that. With this, I'm going to say Om Shanti and thank you. Any questions do you have? Any comments? Yeah.
Yes, I mean, you talk about the early morning meditation, but like I don't usually go to bed till about 1:30 in the morning. So I know it's not as good a later time, but presumably there is still benefit in doing it whenever you can.
Whenever you get up, because you're fresh.
What about if it's what about if you've got something to do? What about if you can grab 15 minutes later in the afternoon, or you just grab times when you can? If you can do it when you first get up, fine. But is it still beneficial at odd moments in the day?
Of course, meditation is beneficial, but the foundation of the day is when we wake up. And that's the best time because you are fresh when you wake up, because you had a good sleep, if you had a good sleep. And that's why one suggestion we give, that if I really want to make my meditation very powerful, then before I go to sleep, as I was saying earlier, when you go to sleep, even then the subconscious mind is working. But in order to stop that, it takes maybe, once you start to practice on a regular basis, between 5 and 10 minutes. You go into silence. We have meditation places in our homes, meditation rooms. And just before, you just create one corner that this is where you're going to sit before you go to bed. And this is where you're going to sit when you meditate, because that's also very important, where you're going to meditate. You are creating that kind of vibrations in that place. So before I go to sleep, that's where I really have to clear my mind. Because so many things have happened in the past, so many things have happened in the day. And if we're going to sleep with those what has happened, the events have happened in our life, events have happened in the day. If I clear that, I don't want that. Some of our students, they use music, they use more meditation commentaries and make sure that they're not going in the past, they've finished the past. So they're going in a state of meditation to sleep. Best way. Your sleep will be so good, even sometimes you'll have very nice dreams. Because dreams are also connected with our life. If my ending is really, really good, and I am sleeping in a meditative, sometimes you feel like very, very light angel. It's like really, mind is light, body is light, everything is light, light, light. Because you have cleared, and in a meditative stage you go to sleep. And we all know that if I was worrying before I went to sleep, when I will wake up, I will wake up with worrying. So I have to change this habit before I go to sleep. I want to sleep in a meditative state, and that means very calm, very cool, very peaceful. You know, and it takes, once you practice it, it will take few minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And our meditation becomes very, very powerful. Early morning hour meditation. I always look for early morning meditation hour. It's really, really powerful, which I was explaining earlier. It's like you beyond sound. Absolutely beyond. And it's like mind is getting rest. Intellect is getting rest. And you just want to experience that love, unconditional love. Sweetness of the silence, powerful silence. And we all can do that. It's a question of many others as well. It's a good question. Thank you. Any other question? I know many are listening. I don't know whether they will be able to have a question.
Well, we do meditation early morning. But after finishing that, I like to feel to go to bed again. Is it all right to do that?
Yes. I mean, sometimes...
If I don't do little nap in the morning after then I feel my day is too long.
Yeah, if you are working and you have really a long day ahead, it's better to take little... Yes, why not?
That's okay.
Yeah. Once I get up, because again, then I get nap in the afternoon as well, but my morning hours are really, really good. Get up around about 3:30, best time of meditation. We have 4 o'clock meditation, but our music plays at 3:30. But even before that, my eyes are open. Any other question? No? Okay, Dakshaben will conduct meditation.
Shanti. Sit back relaxed, the feet on the ground. And if you're holding anything in your hands, you may want to put it aside. Gently breathing in and breathing out. If it's okay with you, you may wish to leave your eyes open, and you may want to focus the center of the forehead of Sister Mani or the poster behind her. However, if you do find it difficult to leave your eyes open, please feel free to shut them. I understand myself to be a being of light. A being whose innate qualities are that of love, peace, happiness. And all the positive qualities. This is me. And as I learn to spend this time with myself and in silence, I'm able to speak to myself and understand my innate qualities. Which are very, very positive. And now through my thoughts, I travel beyond this world to the world of silence, to a peaceful world. Where the Supreme Light, the ocean, the source of love, of peace, of unconditional love and happiness resides. And as I get and come closer to that Supreme Light, the rays touches me. Cleanses me. And I feel empowered. I feel I'm ready to face any situations that can come my way. Now taking the strength from the source, I slowly bring back myself, my awareness to where I am. Feeling refreshed and empowered. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Maniben, there's a question. So if you wake up at 3:30 in the morning, or even before that, what time do you go to bed? This is a question from one of the chats through YouTube.
I also want to enjoy my evening meditation, and I also want to kind of listen to spiritual classes. And again, before I go to bed, I also want to meditate. So I go around about between 10:30 and 11. But then again, as I said, as our friend was saying here, that she has full day, and some of them, they don't take nap in the afternoon, then it becomes too much for them. So that's why it's good to take some rest in the morning as well. But I do get a nap in the afternoon, so I can go up to 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Thank you, Maniben. And you'll join me in thanking Sister Mani for these words of wisdom. And one of the things that I was taking up from this talk was look after yourself. Take the responsibility and take the power from the higher source. So I'd like to share some products that goes hand in hand with this evening's theme, which is God's Healing Power by Sister Jayanti, and his book, and also it's got CDs. And the other one is Healthy Soul, Healthy Body. So two lovely products. You may want to browse the shop on your way out, as well as online if you prefer, for those who are watching online. And our talk next Tuesday, same time, same place, is Self-Care in Hectic World. And the speaker will be Dr. Pavan. He's a dentist. And as always, Mondays and Thursdays, except on bank holidays and when we come closer to the end of the year or beginning of the year. Otherwise, every Monday and Thursdays, we open from 7 to 7:30 for meditation, collective meditation, in-house and also online. And so you can visit the shop, and wish you a safe journey. And thank you also to our online viewers. Good night.